Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to yet another video. Now, this one is a quick one, and also, it is a sort of a video response to, once again, the Uncanny Omar from the channel Near Mint Condition. But this time, it isn't one of my comic books that define me video, but it is, well, a video about something that I believe every collector / comic book reader thinks about time after time, and that is, what do I want to be collected in an oversized format, as an omnibus, basically. Which, for those of you who don't know, and I don't think there are many people who potentially could watch this video who wouldn't know what an omnibus is, it is a huge, oversized, thick book that collects many comic book issues, usually from a particular run or from particular creators, such as there's Omnibus of Batman by Grant Morrison and so on and so forth, right? La-di-da-di-da. Sometimes they make omnibi as far as the chronological order of published comic book issues go. For instance, the Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Now, I've got several omnibi, but there are still some that I would like to own just for the simple reason so I can enjoy the runs that I want to enjoy in one place, in one book, and on an oversized format, right? On oversized pages. Now, fortunately, I have been able to remove some of the omnibi from my list because there are going to be reprints. And by the way, some of those from my list are comics or omnibi that haven't come out yet, like ever, and some of them are omnibi that I want to have reprinted that came out at some time in the past, but they are sold out completely. But what I have been able to remove from my list is Wolverine by Frank. Well, is it? Yeah, Wolverine by Frank Miller. Or Wolverine Volume 1, which is, like, obvious. Then X-Men by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, that's going to be reprinted. And Astonishing X-Men, now that I believe is about to be reprinted soon, or it has already come out. I'm not sure. I should check Book Depository and order it as soon as possible. Now, these are the ones that I can remove from my list because, they are going to be reprinted. Now, the ones that I want very much, just to get it over with very quickly, and it's not a countdown, right? So, there is no first place, there is no last spot, no, there is just 5, it's my top 5, by the way, 5 omnibi that I want to have and own, and I hope that the publishers will once publish them. So, obviously, it has to be Lobo, right? My favorite comic book character, most certainly, my favorite DC character. I told you all about him in my last video, an icon of the 90s comics. And what I would collect in the omnibus is, well, as much as possible from the 90s run, from the ongoing Lobo run, plus I would add some of the miniseries or limited series that came out at the time, such as Lobo is Back, illustrated by Simon Bisley. Now, I am not sure whether there is enough Lobo material for 2 volumes, but I think it would be doable. Of course, it's DC Comics, so no, they are not going to do that. Well, then, number 2, I would like to have Howard the Duck omnibus reprinted. I've got some of the complete collections, but I just want to have the entire, Howard the Duck from the 70s and the 80s reprinted and collected in 1 volume, so I can enjoy it, the humor and the art on oversized pages. Then it would be fantastic if Marvel Comics reprinted SpiderMan by Todd McFarlane. And Todd McFarlane, quite honestly, is one of my favorite illustrators. I absolutely adore Spawn, and I love his work on Spider-Man, be it on the regular, the Amazing Spider-Man run, or then his adjectiveless Spider-Man that well, was basically created just for him, and he worked on, I believe, the first 11 issues, and then he quit and established Image, so went to draw Spawn. But that I would like to have that Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane Omnibus reprinted. Now, another one is a one that has, I believe, never come out, and this is Batman by Frank Miller Omnibus. For some people, Frank Miller is hit or miss, or hit and miss. He is the man who redefined Batman in the 80s, right, by creating The Dark Knight Returns or Year One. Now, if you see me looking down, I've got a list of the things that I want, reprinted and collected, so I remember correctly. Yeah. So I would in the Omnibus, and just solely because I'm such a huge Batman fan and such a huge Frank Miller fan, so I don't care that some people don't like The Dark Knight Strikes Again. As far as Batman goes, I'm a completist, because Batman's my thing. Batman is my man, right? So in the and I love Frank Miller, so yeah. In the Batman by Frank Miller Omnibus, I would include Year One, obviously. I would include Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight Strikes Again, I know, The Dark Knight Master Race, and All-Star Batman and Robin. Yes, it wasn't drawn by Frank Miller, it was just written by Frank Miller, but not everything was drawn by Frank Miller, right? But he wrote it. I mean, Klaus Jansson, right? Illustrated a lot of comics that Frank Miller wrote. General Mita Jr. illustrated a lot of things that Frank Miller wrote. So why not? Why not include it? Or why not include All-Star Batman and Robin? Many people don't like it, especially because it's unfinished. But there is the very positive aspect of Jim Lee's art, and Jim Lee is a fantastic artist. So anytime I can have Jim Lee's art on in an oversized format, why not? So yeah, Batman by Frank Miller Omnibus, which would include Year One, The Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight Strikes Again, Master Race, and All-Star Batman and Robin. And number 5 would be Batman No Man's Land, a huge epic collected in like about 10, I don't know, maybe 10 paperbacks, including Contagion and the Road to No Man's Land and Legacy and all the individual collected trade paperbacks of the No Man's Land storyline itself. Now, again, it's a huge and awesome collection of talent, awesome writers, awesome artists. So that I would really like to have, in one. Well, it wouldn't really be one. I think that they would probably have to divide it into at least 2 volumes of Omnibuy. But then again, DC Comics, they love cancelling their books. They love announcing that they will print something or reprint something, and then a month or half a year later they will say, oh no, psych, it's not going to be reprinted, haha, or they downgrade it. Like they announced that they're going to print the Man of Steel Omnibus, right? And then they say, no, we're not going to print Man of Steel Omnibus. It's going to be a regular-sized hardcover. All right, fine. So that's why I don't really have any true hopes that they will print Lobo or Frank Miller Omnibus or Batman No Man's Land. Definitely not Lobo. But that's just my dream omnibus, right? So once again, Lobo, Howard the Duck reprint, Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane reprint, and that might very well happen because Marvel is awesome in printing and reprinting collected editions. So I do believe that this would happen. Batman by Frank Miller Omnibus and Batman No Man's Land. These are my top 5 Omnibuy that I want. So what about you, my friends? And collectors of collected editions, Omnibuy, oversized hardcovers, and so on and so forth. What do you want to see printed or reprinted? Or what is your most prized omnibus in your collection? Or have you ordered any omnibus recently and are you looking forward to receiving it? Of course you are. I myself have decided to finally upgrade to my Daredevil by Frank Miller Omnibus, so I'm waiting for that, and my new X-Men by Grant Morrison. So, tell me, my friends, your own stuff. And of course, do not forget to dislike this video if you don't like it, or like this video if you like it, and subscribe to this unimportant channel of an unimportant geek talking about unimportant things. And that will be all from me, my friends. See you soon, and bye.